I mean, Bowlive is New Orleans at 3 in the morning after Jazz Fest. But you're just in New York City, in Brooklyn.
Everybody looks back in time and says, oh, I wish I could have been at the Fillmore East, or I wish I could have been at this place, I wish I could have been at that place. With the whole Bowlive phenomenon, people had the sense that they didn't have to look back and wish that they hadn't missed out. They could just be here.
You know, people can relate to each other with Bowlive. It kind of became a thing. Our generation has had access to so much great music, and Bowlive is kind of like a place for them to gather.
I haven't experienced anything else like it.
This is a home. It's a place that just brings people together.
It's definitely just a live event that you just don't know what's going to happen. 10 years ago, we set out to create something different. Something that nobody had ever quite done before. That was the combination of things that we thought we could do and make them merge together in this stew that we call Brooklyn Bowl.
The Brooklyn Bowl has really become kind of the place in New York to play.
And we found it just walking the streets of Williamsburg and walked into 61 Wythe one day.
It was all cracked concrete. There was no wooden floor. The brick walls were covered with gesso. There were holes in the roof.
The lawyer says, hey, you guys should explore if there's another location. And we walked around and looked, and there wasn't. There is nothing else like this barn. We never deviated. So we were always like, that's the spot. We were just opening, and I had this idea one day. We need to do some special stuff. This thing's 7 nights a week. We need to go find pro. We were scrambling.
I ran into Pete at the Beacon Theater. He gave me the spiel on Brooklyn Bowl. It's like, I'm built, but it was funny because it's kind of like, he's the guy kind of yelling as we're like walking past him.
Hey, guy, I'm gonna open up this venue. I'm gonna have this bowling alley, music venue.
I'm building a venue. You know, it's a bowling alley.
And when it opens up, I'm gonna have you guys play here for a month straight.
But that was like the first sentence, you know, and I was like, 2 weeks, bowling alley? I was like, what's going on here?
Okay, man. Yeah, like, right, Shabs, cool, man. Yeah, whatever you say.
Wait a minute, like, there's people bowling, a lot of people bowling while we're playing music. I mean, man, I'm telling you, nothing. How did Pete get us to play there in the first place?
We wanted it to go beyond the idea that there's one night. It's kind of a collective event that stretches out over a lot of nights, and that you want to be there for all of them. You don't know what's going to happen.
I don't even know if we thought it was going to end up being this residency or go on beyond the first year. I think that a lot of it was like, hey, is this going to happen? How is this going to come off? We're going to pull this off?
Just about everybody in the business told us we were crazy. It would totally flop. It would never, ever work.
I remember people thought we were nuts. I remember people being like, what are you doing? To do 10 nights of Bowlive, one band, each night different.
We used to always talk about the wetlands, and the wetlands being kind of the place where everyone would hang and play, and all these different musicians would sit in with each other. It just made sense to do something where Soul Live was kind of a house band. We'd always talked about that idea.
People say, how did you know it was going to work? And you don't know till you try it, really.
Winter 2010, Bowlive won.
They're the most intense shows that I've ever had to do in my life. Like the amount of prep that goes into it, just us learning tunes. Like I had a sheet of over 100 songs that I had to learn in, I had about 4 days.
By the end of the first 5 nights, I was wiped out, man. It was amazing and tiring. It ran the gamut of emotions.
A lot of it wasn't planned. It was so good for the band because our repertoire went from like, you know, the 40, 50 Soul Live songs to the 700.
It's like a sport, you know, like you're up there thinking like, what do I have to execute in this moment? Who's coming up next? What's the next thing we're going? What's the next song I have to be prepared? You know, there's so much that goes into it. So I think our natural state is just this kind of like frenetic electricity.
I haven't experienced anything else like it.
And the place was just surging with energy. This is a response to this band that I don't think could happen anywhere else. You know, honestly, I think the very first night we did it, the place was half or 2/3 full.
It just kind of snowballed, you know. It was one of those things where we invited a certain amount of guests, then all of a sudden this person would show up and that person would show up, and all of a sudden they'd be like, hey, Derek Trucks is at the back door, you know. And we'd be like, cool, well, bring him up here, and you know, and we would talk through what we were going to do on stage.
By the time we got to the final one of that year, there wasn't a ticket to be found. Everybody knew that Bowlive was a place to be.
It's fun to be a part of. There's magic in the air.
Now it's just a part of the band. You know, it's just what Soul Live does.
You want to go see the best live music, I believe, on the planet in 2019? Come to Bowlive. And there's no way you could leave. Maybe you'd be like, no, there's something else that good. I'll give you that. But I think anyone would leave being like, at least it's a tie.
I definitely couldn't imagine a better place to celebrate our 20th anniversary. You kidding me? Come on, it's Brooklyn Bowl, baby. Let's roll.
I want to thank Pete Shapiro and Charlie and the Brooklyn Bowl for creating such an amazing venue and a home for musicians like me to just be free and collaborate with all of our favorite people. I really appreciate it, and I love y'all.
One person interviewing me asked me how it felt to be, and he was kind of stammering around, and I said, you mean the old guy in the room? And he said, yeah, how does that feel to you? I said, well, you know, if we can create a place or even a magic trick that people a half or a third of my age can really relate to and love, I'm not going to apologize for that.
We didn't expect it to work this well, but we're still pushing like it's the early days. Because once you like kind of let go a little, things start to fade, and that's why we keep pushing. And so, looking forward to doing another 10.